Hey guys, I'm Logan Freeman, and this is the LiveFree Investors Podcast. I interview investors and business owners who share investment advice so you too can live free. Today I'm talking to my friend Yonah Weiss. Yonah, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do, man.
I am Yonah Weiss. I guess if you don't know who I am until now,
Your fault.
I love helping people. Okay. Currently, in the situation I'm in, for the past few years, I've been working with the largest cost segregation company in the country, Madison Specs, helping real estate investors save money on their taxes, their income tax. So that's kind of the situation. I was a teacher for about 15 years, and really my passion is in teaching. So in this current situation, I'm spending a lot of time just educating people about this incredible tax savings people don't know about.
Right.
I'm also very deeply involved in the commercial real estate and multifamily, specifically industry, and getting my feet wet involved as well in multifamily investing.
Awesome.
And recently, or I shouldn't say recently, shortly, I will be launching my own podcast, Weiss Advice.
There we go. I love it.
Not Weiss Advice, because that wouldn't rhyme. Weiss Advice.
Weiss Advice, man. I love it. Can't wait for that to come out and see what your approach is to the podcasting world since you're such a veteran. So what do you think is the best thing about being an investor, Yonah?
Best thing about being an investor is that you care about your future.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not just putting money in the bank or not even saving money. You're actually proactively, strategically planning how I can make my money work for me and not just work for money.
I love that. I love that. And I have to point out too, if anybody notices, if you're from Kansas City, you know that Yonah's got Kansas City in the background there. So I love that, man. That is so good. So, man, keeping up with the current trends and opportunities can be a challenge. So I'm curious how you stay up to date.
Just talking to people, I spend a lot of time every day speaking with a lot of different people. And, like yourself, just speaking to many people who are in the industry, getting a pulse from the people who are active throughout the industry.
Do you
I try to stay away from the news, actually.
Yeah, same here, except for our friend David, who has the Only Good News, newsletter. That's been nice, hitting the inbox all the time. So what's the best advice you've received as an investor, Yonah?
Best advice is don't go with your heart, go with your head.
Easier said than done, right?
Absolutely. And we've all, including myself, all fallen prey to that, just going with your head, going with your heart, because it feels good and it looks good and it sounds good. It sounds great. You got to use your head.
So this is a myth that I love to bust, because so many people in the commercial real estate industry say, oh, you're in commercial real estate, so it's less emotional. What is your take on that? Because in my world, there's still a lot of emotions in commercial real estate, but I'm curious to hear what you say.
There's emotions in everything. In comparison to what? Meaning
residential real estate.
Oh, okay. So that may be true. In terms of residential, people are looking to buy their own homes. If that's what you're talking about, there's a lot of emotion involved there. Commercial real estate is less so, because I think people view it as more of a business.
Yeah.
However, business is involved, emotions are involved in business as well, especially when you're putting a lot of times your own, life savings into that business. And you're dealing with investors and their life and their savings. There's a lot of emotions that are involved there, but the key is to mitigate that, or to kind of control that. And this is really a key in life, and not just in business, but that your mind should be controlling your heart, meaning your mind, your thoughts can have power over your emotions. It's okay to have those emotions. It's okay to recognize them, but you need to be able to be on top of them and be in control.
Absolutely. Emotional Intelligence 2.0 is a book that I highly recommend to a lot of people. And I give that book out a lot. It was, you can take this test and then it teaches you and coaches you how to raise your emotional intelligence. And I attribute a lot of my success to understanding your emotions and Tony Robbins as well. Unleashing the power within program was incredible. So emotional intelligence is super important. So this is a really social show. It's fast, it's quick hitting. This is your opportunity to promote somebody that you think would be a good guest to have on the podcast. So I use this to call out people on LinkedIn. So I'm curious, who do you have in mind that should be on the show?
Who am I going to call out? Well, I don't want to exclude anyone. Well, that's going to be impossible. But I got a great person who actually, I did a short stint of a different podcast before Weiss Advice, and we had one guest. And this one guest was a friend of mine, a guy by the name of Bernard Weiss.
Okay.
He's a CPA, but by trade, he deals with retirement accounts. He's an expert in that field. And in many fields, you may have seen on LinkedIn, he's been a guest on dozens of podcasts as well. Extremely brilliant, extremely knowledgeable in his field.
Yes.
I mean, like I am in cost segregation, he is 10 times that in retirement accounts and so many other fields of law and accounting and finance. So great guest. You can pick whatever subject you want.
Awesome. I will definitely connect with Bernard and have him on the show. We've talked on LinkedIn just a little bit because I've seen you tag him before. Man, this is the most important question of the podcast, and one that I didn't prep you for, but it's what my business, my brand, my life is based on. And so my question to you, Yonah, is how do you live free on a regular basis?
Living free for me is really, I think a lot of people relate to this, is living with God. Because living and you yourself is your whole life. You're not free. You're really a prisoner because you're a prisoner to your emotions. You're a prisoner to your whatever your mind come with, and you don't think beyond yourself. When you can let go and kind of live a free life, you realize that you're not really in control. That's the real freedom. And it's very interesting from the Jewish perspective. We see throughout the Bible, the Jewish people are referred to as slaves.
Yes.
As servants, okay? The word slave and servant are really interchangeable in Hebrew. It's the same word. But it's called, like, a servant is actually, it's a beloved form, but we're servants of God, meaning we have that relationship, that bond that allows us to really be free. We were taken out of Egypt into freedom, but that freedom was to come into the servitude of God. So in a sense, that's the real freedom.
I love that answer, Yonah. And obviously my faith, my Catholic faith is very important to me, as is your Jewish faith. And I respect you very dearly for that. And so dearly that I am naming my firstborn son that is on the way, Ezra. So, like the Old Testament prophet, Ezra. Ezra helped lead the people back in and to the promised land as well. And so that name means helper. And as my firstborn son, I'm super excited to name my son Ezra Freeman, which I'm super pumped about. So I thought you would get a kick out of that, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, this is Logan with the Live Free Investors Podcast, where investors and business owners share advice so you too can live free. For more insights and ideas on how you can live free, you know where to find Yonah Weiss. It's on LinkedIn. You can find me there as well, but he is all over the place. Yonah, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Until next time, guys, live free.